Hi, I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining,
the show where Dr. Oz drinks pee.
And here I thought we were going to go with the thing about the dogs.
Well, I mean, I could have led with the dog murder, but dog murder doesn't lead well in statistics. I mean, you would think, but then the GOP's making it a whole fucking platform.
Right.
So obviously it must lead pretty well.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Dr. Oz isn't the only one killing dogs. Lauren Boebert is also killing dogs.
Well, one dog mainly. That we know of.
Yeah, that was
Unless
the
she's
first
a dog
one.
serial killer.
I never considered that possibility. I more considered it more like aspirational, saying it's dogs. If you vote for me, I will kill more dogs.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Vote for Lauren Boebert. She kills dogs.
A vote for Boebert is a vote for dog murder.
This is not sponsored by Lauren Boebert.
No shit.
This is also not sponsored by Lauren Boebert's opposition.
Whoever the fuck that is.
Apparently they're doing much better than Lauren Boebert.
Wow, I'm surprised.
I'm surprised that the dog murder might not actually be doing so hot.
I mean, that was
can't
Politics
believe it.
Corner here on Comicsplaining.
So,
We gotta keep our
after we
politics
lost,
in comics.
now that we've lost all of our listeners, would you guys tell me what happened last time?
I remember some things and not others. I remember the last issue really well.
The first issue, though.
The first issue.
Okay, so this is after Thor.
Was that the one where Thor met up with Galactus and was like, I'm mad at you, your story sucks. And then Odin was like, nah, I heard all I need to hear, go back to Earth.
Yeah, that was the last 2 pages, but basically...
I was wondering why I couldn't remember a thing.
Yeah, we heard Galactus's totally 100% canonical backstory.
That has never been retconned.
Changed or retconned at all.
I remember what happened next.
Yeah, and then what happened next?
So Thor went back to Earth, where after one day of trying to protect the Earth, Baldur has failed because the communists have sent the Thermal Man. And we hate the Thermal Man, don't we, folks?
Wait, so the Thermal Man was that recently? He feels so long
And then
ago.
Thor summoned up a gigantic storm that washed out Jersey City.
Mm-hmm.
Right, he destroyed New Jersey.
He did.
And then one day, shortly afterward, Thor was hanging out on a roof when he heard through the window the beloved civil rights leader Pedro Luis Lopez.
Oh my god, you do remember his name.
Wow.
was fucking shot and he was needing surgery. So he went to the hospital and it turned into Don Blake and started getting in on the surgery. And then he left in the middle of the surgery to go fight the wrecker who had broken out of prison. Prison hospital, even though, like, they did nothing to stop him from doing that. So he got out and he was wrecking some shit, and then...
As he does.
Yeah, and
Hence
then,
the name.
so he was gonna fuck up the surgery, so Don left surgery, turned into Thor, threw the wrecker on the third rail.
On the subway.
And then went back to surgery.
Yep.
I can't
That's what happened.
but think, Thor could have just showed up to surgery.
You think that they would let Thor do a surgery?
Yes, considering everything else they let Thor do.
I mean, not a bad point.
Come on, you're telling me most of the doctors there don't know Thor and Don Blake are the same guy?
Well, they definitely do.
So...
Well, you're Thor. We can just, like, drop a nuke on you, right? That's
Yeah,
cool.
totally
That'd be
fine.
cool.
It would be very cool. So we know what a nuke does.
To someone who is a god.
Yeah.
And not, like, a normal person.
Well, yep, that's basically what happened.
Surprise! Jane Foster in this issue!
Yeah, and then we got teased that Jane would be in the next issue.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Jane Foster is coming.
I know, right?
Is that the Stranger?
This issue is, first of all, Thor number 172. From November of 1969.
Nice.
Nice.
Written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Bill Everett, and lettered by Artie Simak. Thor has returned to the office of Dr. Donald Blake, but he pauses outside the window as he notices someone inside. I feel like I'm gonna burp. He notes the stranger's troubled expression as he peers around the corner before resolving to discover the source of the man's woes. The golden-haired Avenger begins to climb the side of the building, using his hammer for leverage, which seems like it wouldn't work super well, but who am I to judge him, I guess?
Seems like a strange method, yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
it looks like he's breaking the...
Also, he could just fly.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like a strange method.
Once he reaches the rooftop, he transforms into his mortal persona and makes his way down the stairs. When Dawn enters the office, the awaiting stranger calls out to him by name and says that he is in desperate need of help. We learn that this is Dr. Jim North, who Dawn says is the doctor that Jane went to work for after she left him, which wasn't who it was before, but okay.
So, retcon. Okay.
Yeah. Retcon, which is also going to be, again, retconned later.
Oh, good.
Double retcon.
So don't get attached.
Yeah,
What
don't
was
get
his-
attached to Jim North.
What was his name before? Was it Dr. Kincaid or is
Keith
that a different
Kincaid.
guy? Okay, alright, I'm good at
You
this.
nailed it.
So now we have to get Keith Kincaid and Jim North in the same room and then ask them, who did Jane Foster go to work for after he worked for Donald Blake?
Dr. North...
Maybe it didn't work out.
Maybe. Well, we'll see.
Okay.
Dr. North informs Dr. Blake that Jane has been kidnapped and bids him read a letter that he received on the subject.
A letter that's been sealed with wax.
Indeed, the letter bears a wax seal that Dawn recognizes as belonging to a billionaire named Cronin Krask, which is a hell of a name.
Yeah.
According to the letter, Krask is the one who holds Jane prisoner and won't release her unless Jim performs some kind of experiment on him. Dr. North states that he can't let anything happen to Jane because he's in love with her, so I guess we know our girl is continuing her trend of only dating men that she works for.
Oh, good God.
Blake questions why Dr. North would bring this problem
Oh,
to him.
Good Lord.
Why not the police? Why not the police? Jim says that Krask would simply deny everything and Jane would be at his mercy, which makes sense because he's a billionaire.
Yes.
But everyone knows that Dawn is the only person who can reliably contact Thor.
Yes, he can contact Thor.
Indeed.
Yes. That's
And so, with nowhere else to turn, here he is. Dr. Blake moves in front of the window, pensively watching as a sudden storm overtakes the skyline. He bids Dr. North take his leave, though he promises that he will do what he can. Dawn says a brief prayer to Odin, who is currently on his way to scan his domain for any goings-on.
and that is a look.
His eyes are fucking terrifying.
He always has a look. He stands atop a craggy rock and bids his counselor hold aloft a device called an Enchanti-Scan because I guess his magic plasma TVs aren't dramatic enough right now.
He's not magical enough that he can just do this on his own. He needs fucking technology.
Well,
Magical technology.
I mean, if Stan knew anything about Norse mythology, wherein Odin has a throne called Hlidskjalf, where he can view anything in the universe.
Can't
but
believe
whatever.
he didn't break out Hidskjalf.
Hidskjalf.
Hlidskjalf.
Hidskjalf.
I think I'm pronouncing that completely
You
wrong.
gotta get that phlegm in there. Hidskjalf.
So this thing projects images from across the 9 realms, and he looks through it and he sees Loki attempting to persuade a few warriors to aid in their latest scheme. He also sees Balder recovering from battle under the watchful eyes of the Norn Queen. Still, he casts his gaze elsewhere until the projection warps into the guise of a mortal man.
That sure looks like a guy, alright.
This must be the danger that the Thunder God now faces, but he says that his son is more than up to the task.
Then a father's tears shall flood the whole of Asgard.
Well,
Dramatic.
if he's not.
Yeah, if he's not up to the task. Scant moments later, Dr. North speeds down a country road toward the estate of Cronin Krask. Apparently, Dawn bid him go there while he attempted to contact Thor.
That seems like a bad plan.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, this plan doesn't track.
As he approaches the gates, we see it's being guarded by soldiers with big-ass guns who refer to Mr. Krask as Master, so that's normal.
Of the Master. Oh, that's fun.
They wave him
I
on...
like this fucking THX 1138 cosplay vibe we have going on.
They wave him on through, knowing that their employer is expecting the good
What the?
doctor.
We've made a very sudden change in aesthetics here.
Dr. North is unnerved by the guards, which is understandable, and then he is shown into the house by two butlers wearing George Washington costumes.
And they're in Founding Fathers cosplay.
Yes.
Why?
Well, we'll see. Mr. Krask is a huge man with wild orange hair. I can't describe him beyond that, but trust
Get
me.
in my belly!
yeah, that, I think that does the, yeah.
He has a very distinct look.
And we've now expressed that look very well.
Jane is also here, currently being held by someone named Brunhilde, who calls her a female, which is a strange choice.
And oh yeah, if you didn't get Ripley's reference, he's called Fat Bastard.
Right, I guess there are some people that are young.
Just too young
It's true.
to understand.
Krask declares that with the doctor's help, he will soon become immortal. And Jin responds by whipping out a gun.
Not if I have anything to say about it, fatso!
I don't think Don told him to do that. I feel like that wasn't part of the plan. Jim says that he and Jane are leaving, and Krask is coming with them as a hostage, which might work better when you're not surrounded by heavily armed guards.
Yeah.
But he's a medical doctor, not a tactical genius. Helpless, he relinquishes the pistol and listens to Mr. Krask's demands. Dr. North will perform the first ever mind transplant, he says. To which the good doctor states, "Impossible! Nobody can do that except Dr. Wagnestein."
Wait, why is this
What?
a thing that can be done?
Yeah.
Still in the grips of Brunhilde, Jane informs us all that Krask has already kidnapped Dr. Wagnestein and forced him to reveal the secrets of the operation.
Why not make him do it?
So why does he need Dr. North?
Exactly.
What did you do to the other doctor?
This and many other questions will never get answered.
Right.
God damn it!
We have no context for any of this. Shit is just happening and we have to take it completely at face value.
Also
This has been happening a lot lately.
I'm also trying to figure out how big this guy is, because sometimes he
Big.
seems huge, and
Yeah.
sometimes he doesn't.
He's more normal
seem-
size.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some scaling issues going on.
Uh-huh.
Jim surges forward with anguished cries, but is held back by the guards. There is nothing he can do but acquiesce to the madman's demands, with the vain hope that it may spare his beloved. Back in the city, Don stands atop a rooftop and prepares to suit up, so to speak. It seems like he could have done this a lot earlier, but maybe he had some errands. I don't know. He transforms into Thor and takes to the skies, flying straight to the dwelling of Cronin Krask. As he soars toward the mansion, the soldiers on the ground mark his passage. Apparently his coming was foreseen, as one guard uses his radio to signal the beginning of Operation Disable.
Bet they
boy.
had somebody tailing Dr. North.
Uh-huh. As the Thunder God alights in the courtyard, several more men fire up a spotlight to blind him and begin to fire a hail of bullets.
He's a god of fucking thunder. I think lightning's a hell of a lot brighter than your fucking
I
spotlight.
think he'll be okay.
I think he's got this one.
However, Thor takes out the lights with one toss of his hammer,
Shocking.
rendering the mortal men blind in the semi-darkness.
Oh my god, how could this happen?
It's shocking. I'm surprised.
A couple of them hit the deck just...
Woo!
Ho-ho!
A
That
couple
big
of them hit the
close.
deck just in time as Mjolnir flies back to its owner's hand, where it is raised once more. Several of these dudes are smart enough to attempt to scatter just before the hammer strikes the ground, tearing it apart and sending bolts of crackling electricity flailing about the open space.
Good job, guards.
You guys are doing great.
Yeah, this is working out real well for them.
A strange machine rises from below the lawn, which, when activated, releases a hallucinogenic mist, which sends Thor spiraling into darkness. Poor guy just keeps getting drugged.
Okay, wait, what? Why did he pay $1 million for some sleeping gas?
Millions.
Yeah.
Not just multiple.
Okay.
He's trying to swap his mind with someone else?
Right,
And,
so it seems like you would want your money to go there rather than a fucking multi-million-dollar Febreze
Sleeping
can.
gas.
I mean, I think the obvious implication is Thor's the recipient.
Yeah.
Moments later, soldiers arrive to escort Jim and Jane, both of whom are now scrubbed and prepared for surgery, to the operating room. Jane exposits a little bit on this operation, which more or less confirms what you've likely assumed.
Yep.
Basically, it's just switching two people's brains so that one becomes the other and vice versa. You may also have guessed that Krask wants this so that he can have his brain put into a younger body, thereby attaining a type of immortality, though presumably he would have to repeat the trick every 50 years or so. Dr. North informs his patient of the risks involved, as Jane ponders who could be the other person, soon to be inhabiting Krask's body, and currently hidden by a sheet. Haven't you guessed? Asks Krask. At this point, John has figured it out.
Yep.
Krask was aware, somehow, that Jane had dealings with Thor in the past, and so by taking her hostage, he secured not only the help of Dr. North, but also the perfect immortal body that he craves.
This is a good case on why secret identities are a good thing.
This is actually a pretty clever plan, I think,
Yeah.
on the part of Krask. I just wished it was used for something better.
Also, are you sure human medicine works on Asgardians like that?
The two react with horror as they peel back the sheet to reveal the slumbering god. Jane begs Jim not to do it, while calling him John, not sure what that's about. Luckily, he agrees. He can't allow Krask to take the Thunder God's body. He would rather die here and now. The soldiers urge him to look at Jane and see if he can make the same choice for her, which he can't. He loves her and can't stand the thought of her death, even if it means saving the Thunder God and potentially countless others, because God knows what Krask is going to do with his body.
Suicide. Suicide is the answer.
So rip Thor, I guess.
Jim asks the soldiers to take Jane away, as she continues to plead with him to see reason. He begins attaching a machine to the billionaire's head as Krask taunts him. I guess this is some vague sci-fi bullshit instead of actual brain transplant, which is disappointing but not surprising.
But if it's big sci-fi bullshit, why do they need him?
I think they should have just killed him. I mean, he was willing to break his Hippocratic oath to try and shoot him earlier.
Right.
So, why not just kill him? Once he's not paying the bills, do you think the soldiers are gonna fucking go to jail for him?
Right? The machine, once attached to both subjects, begins to glow as the two minds clash. An image forms between them of Thor and Krask, ego to ego, battling for supremacy. Before the eyes of the horrified observers, the two forms begin to merge as one claims victory over the other. But which?
Well,
Thor.
that's...
He's fucking God.
Krask begins screaming, racked with internal pain, before he tears free of the restraints and collapses on the floor, dead. Thor stands before the doctor, apparently victorious. According to Dr. North, Thor was only pretending to be knocked out, though he does wonder why he would go along with the procedure if so.
What?
Thor simply states that a warrior cannot ignore a challenge and leaves it at that.
What?
Dr. North isn't comforted by this and makes an attempt to apologize, but Thor lays a gentle hand on his shoulder and insists that the blame is not his, for he acted out of love. With Krask's men all fled in the wake of their master's demise, as you pointed out, Thor bids the two lovebirds destroy the machinery before sweeping out of the room. And that's that issue.
So...
Alright.
We have 3 single-issue stories, so I'm gonna ask you to rate this one right now. So that you don't forget it.
I'm not happy. I think it was told relatively well for what it was, and fairly decent for a stand story of this era, but it does have plot holes through which one could drive a semi.
Well, this one just delightfully smashed into a wall and died.
Yeah.
Something interesting could have been set up.
I mean, at least Thor did something.
He did.
But he was never in any danger. There was never any actual risk. And the end.
Oh, God. Thor is just, perpetually self-warped in his own fucking title.
He let himself be knocked out so he could experience the glories of being strapped to a machine.
That was all really stupid, yeah. He was able to convince me that, okay, yeah, I'll go along with this plot, but, there was a lot of stupid going on.
Thor is just,
I'm gonna go with 3, though, because this is one of the better Thor stories we've had in a while.
Thor just is like, you know what? Sure, why not? I'll do this. This sounds fun.
I'm bored right now.
I'm bored.
Got nothing better to do.
No one's ever tried to swap my mind before.
What do you stand numbers-wise?
2.
I think there's interesting elements, but the whole thing overall is not great. So I'm gonna go with a 2.5.
Like, we go from who has survived to it's Thor. It's just Thor.
It's obviously Thor. That's done. Let's go ahead and move on.
Yeah, that could have gone into a whole second issue where we try to figure out who won.
Or they try to save Thor by swapping
Plot
them back.
twist. It was actually Krask who won, and then it's been him all along for the next 50 years.
I mean, hey, they might do that one day.
Oh God, I'm not liking this lineup we've got.
Let's go ahead and move on to Thor number 173 from December of 1969.
Nice.
This is the last one, isn't it?
Yes.
Until the 70s.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
I want to send it out with a bang.
Nice! Written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Bill Everett, and lettered by Artie Simek.
So we finally had it with Vince, huh?
Yeah. Seems that way. I don't think Bill's any better, personally, but...
No.
I didn't really notice a difference, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't think it's better. Oh.
We open on Dr. Blake.
Wait, what?
Packing his bag as he has just finished seeing to an illustrious patient, none other than Thor himself.
What?
He asks if Thor feels any better, and the Thunder God replies with a grin that his back no longer hurts as he juggles a set of colorful balls.
What?
Apparently, he had strained his back lifting something very heavy, but of course, because he is the most powerful of all men. Or at least so says the billing. The performer states as he removes first his helmet and then his wig.
Oh.
Why are we on the point where, like, so many fucking carnival performers want to pretend to be Thor? The crowd's not gonna take well to that, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. They didn't like it when Thor pretended to be Thor. The real Thor is probably some phony, he says, unlike him, who has been performing as a weightlifter for years.
Wow.
He lights his pipe with a match, thanking the good doctor for the patch job. Apparently Don was in the audience when the strong man wrenched his back and was able to tend to him on site. However, it wasn't pure luck that brought Dr. Blake to this circus. As we see the ringmaster, yes, that ringmaster, poke his head in through the tent flap to inquire about his strongman. So you see, it's not that a bunch of carnies want to perform as Thor, it's that this one carnival got really attached to the idea of having a strong man pretending to be Thor.
They're like, hey, that Thor gig worked out pretty well. The crowd loved it.
Yeah.
It's just, they made the posters and now they don't want to get rid of them.
Exactly. Printing costs a lot. Don assures him that Thor can go on tonight, so long as he takes it easy. And with that, the ringmaster ushers him away with a distinct lack of etiquette, which confirms Don's suspicions. Something is up with the Circus of Crime.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the Circus of Crime might be up to something.
I know.
Only he could have committed the robbery at the Electronics Center yesterday.
Are you sure? Are you
So
really
he
sure
robbed
about
a
that?
Radio Shack?
Yeah.
I mean...
Apparently the ringmaster's crew recently made parole and have now set up outside town.
How? How did they make parole?
Which would be fine, except for a notable robbery that Don concluded could only be their handiwork.
Because the fucking prisons are bursting with criminals in the Marvel Universe.
Also, how is he the only one who figured this out?
I don't know. Thus, he decided to make the drive and gather intel in his mortal guise before returning to knock some heads together later. He pulls off on a side road and leaves his car to transform under the cover of the trees and go do just that.
See, there's been some kind of fun concepts the last few issues. I like the setup.
Right. The execution.
I can't wait to be let down.
That's almost meaner.
Before that, though, we need to check in on Loki. Shockingly, Loki is doing exactly what we saw last issue.
I'm shocked.
Addressing a collection of Asgard's enemies and attempting to rile them up for a scheme. It's a pretty basic plan. Get some guys to kill Thor so they can become the new heir apparent. Pretty standard.
Well, what did these guys get out of it?
They get to kill Thor. To this end, they've made allies with Ulik, who is possessed of a strength sufficient to kill the Prince of Asgard.
Because it's worked out so well before.
Because of how many Thors he's killed.
Yeah. Ulik is already raring to go, demanding that Loki send him to Thor right now and get it over with. Loki obliges, though first they bring up that Ulik has already lost to Thor multiple times, which has gotta hurt his ego. Still, they think that now, with the advantage of surprise, he could succeed. And so they weave a spell to send him to Midgard, and Loki's looking real handsome in this panel.
But, I mean, that meaty claw...
hairy claw.
Meaty, hairy claw of Ulik's is,
Then an asteroid plunges straight into the heart of North America, killing everyone.
We all die.
And I mean, he has even, they're even worse on the lower panel. Oh no.
Ulik appears in the middle of the circus, screaming about killing Thor. Several carnies move into action as the flying Gambinos let out the time-honored carny battle cry, "Hey, Rube!"
Yeah! It's back! Woo! And the crowd goes wild!
Oh my god.
This is quite the callback. I honestly can't believe Stan remembered that.
Of all the things he could remember, of all the things he didn't remember.
Right?
Consider, he forgot the guy who Jane was working for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm assuming here. I assume he just straight up forgot who she went to work for.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
I think he did forget, and forgot that he made the "Hey Rube" joke before.
Possibly.
Oh, that's yeah, that actually tracks. He probably forgot he made the joke, so he's doing it again, so now it's a callback.
Or maybe it's an assumption that this is just the natural thing whenever there's a carny fight.
Maybe that's just how carnies were in the 70s.
Maybe they actually had a battle cry.
I never considered that possibility, but hey.
If you know anything about carnies in the 60s and 70s and about battle cries that they may or may not have had,
shoot us an email over at comicsplaining@gmail.com.
So in the meantime, a bunch of guys with pipes surround Ulik, but are pretty quickly thrown back.
Shockingly.
The ringmaster arrives, bidding Ulik gaze into his eyes as the swirl on his hat spins, hypnotizing the troll. Ulik falls entirely under the spell, standing stock still before his new master.
That went surprisingly well.
The ringmaster's strongman was hurt last time we saw him too.
And it was also a different guy. After witnessing his strength, the ringmaster orders Ulik into a cage, declaring that he will be the backup strongman in case fake Thor gets injured again. And
if it doesn't work out, hey, he'd make a good member of the freak show, I guess, if that's what we're doing here. Because, I mean, I think we have already established that that is what they're doing here.
The ringmaster is too busy pondering the potential of this captive to notice the real Thor sneaking up behind him. The god of thunder sees Ulik and, lacking any context, concludes that the circus must be up to something truly foul. However, he in turn is too busy to notice the python winding up his leg until it's too late.
Princess Python's hot.
I know, right? "Who dares entwine mighty Thor?" he declares as Princess Python comes up behind him. "Skip the conny patter, Mike, it's me," she replies. Thor realizes that she must not know it's actually him rather than the performer. Because he mentioned earlier, and I didn't make note of it, but he did mention that he administered a sedative to the performer.
Well, he did mention that.
So, realizing this, he attempts to play along when she inquires about his injured back. She gets up in his personal space, remarking that he looks a lot more handsome than she remembers. But she releases him for now, as the show is about to start. Under the big top, several performers, including one dressed as Johnny Storm, go through their routines until the ringmaster announces Thor, the strongest man alive.
So I guess they took that dressing like a superhero shtick and ran with it, huh?
Yeah, it seems that way.
Wow.
The Thunder God strides onto center stage and begins whirling his hammer, heedless to the ringmaster's warning not to break it again. "These people have come to see Thor, and Thor they will get," He slams the ground, creating a shockwave that sends a nearby set of balls flying into the air, followed closely by a car full of disgruntled clowns.
Oh, those poor clowns.
Ringmaster wonders aloud how he did that, but the crowd is eating it up, clapping uproariously.
Okay, so apparently the crowd has warmed up onto the idea of performer Thor.
Right.
They just needed to get used to it, you know?
It was too soon.
Thor was ahead of Thor's time.
Yes, he was ahead of his own time.
Ringmaster tells Thor to quit being such a ham, as he makes to unveil the latest addition to his crew. Ulik enters as the sheet is pulled off of a huge 5,000-pound spiky barbell, which the Ringmaster commands him to lift over his head.
Did he introduce himself as Ulik? I don't recall.
No, I don't know why the Ringmaster knows his name.
That introduces even more questions.
Ulik does so with little effort, then upon further commands, begins moving it toward a nearby truck. Finally, Thor has seen enough, and lets loose his mighty hammer to awaken the troll. Ulik regains his senses, and immediately goes after Thor, dropping the huge barbell like an unwanted toy.
Does he drop it, or does it get broken in half?
He drops it.
Okay.
It does not get broken in half. It survived the hammer hit.
Speak not to me of playthings such as barbells when the bloodlust is upon me.
They trade blows as the crowd evacuates, which frankly I don't think is very accurate, because as far as they know, this is still part of the show.
Right.
So they just paid for one hell of a show.
The Odinson knocks his foe back, but Ulik grabs a pipe from, somewhere.
There's just pipes.
And comes back a-swingin'. Thor spins his hammer, but with a quick succession of blows, Ulik knocks him off balance until he can strike. Yet before his blow lands, Thor shoots something out of his hammer, which engulfs Ulik in a blinding light until he simply disappears.
Or disintegrate.
Did you just kill Ulik? I mean,
possibly.
Valid, but...
My hat.
Look at this amazing face. Really great work, Bill.
I'm gonna call what I think is going to be the cover image for this podcast.
I don't know about that. Generally, I don't go for close-ups.
Yeah, it would take up the whole thing.
Yeah.
And yet.
Yet. The Carnies are shocked as Thor declares that he is the real one and not a performer named Mike, which I think they figured out already. Ringmaster attempts to hypnotize Thor, but he's not falling for that shit again, and knocks the hat off his head.
I don't know why you didn't tell me you could do this, Mike.
Mike, you should have been led with this from the start.
Ringmaster turns to flee, straight into the arms of a shitload of cops, who then proceed to take down the rest of the circus through wacky hijinks.
Why are there... What?
I like my favorite cop maneuver has got to be the clothesline.
Clotheslining a clown on a unicycle.
Yeah, sometimes you just put up a board and the clown on a unicycle hits it.
I think it's one of the myriad pipes, actually.
The pipes that are just laying around.
Because the Circus of Crime is just filled with pipes.
Okay, cops can be funny every once in a while.
Unintentionally funny. This is not meant to be funny.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like a clothesline is always intended to be funny.
So anyway, Princess Python pulls out a gun.
What? Were you trying to kill Rick?
And it's like a weirdly modern looking gun. Like it looks like a fucking Glock.
Or something.
What the
And where was she holding that? She's wearing a fucking bikini and tights.
Pulled it out of her cleavage.
Right.
Oh my god. Just pulls out a gun, you know. That's what you expect from her.
Right.
A gun. Not a python. A gun.
Thor uses her own pet as a lasso to tie her up while she attempts to seduce him and rolls a natural 1.
Oh, that poor python.
Yeah.
Ringmaster insists that they have no reason to arrest him beyond Thor's word, but Thor approaches the giant barbell and smashes the shell to reveal 2 spherical computers, which are apparently used for national defense.
Wait.
So there's a lot to unpack there.
Uh-huh.
We then have a baffling exchange where Princess Python says that they would have paid him a fortune to look the other way, but Thor obviously doesn't care about money, so I'm not sure what the point of this was.
Right, why did she ever think that he would care?
Also,
And
why were they using something that I assume was valuable as a circus prop?
yeah, that's one of the many questions that I had. So, what did you guys think of this issue?
It's kind of there.
Yeah,
Yep.
It
is a comic.
it was inoffensive, not good, but I mean that's solid. That by my ranking system, that is a 2. Like a 1 is incomprehensible or just offensively bad.
Mm-hmm.
A 2 is a solid. That sure was a comic,
Now,
but it
hold on.
wasn't good.
Hold on. 0 is on the scale.
0 is not on the scale. You have to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I will
or
give
a
things
0.5.
0. Or
No.
Mm-mm.
I will start digging into the ground.
No, 0 is not on the ranking scale. You have to pick something 1 to 5.
0 through negatives are reserved for bonus episodes.
Yes.
I will get if we run into something truly
No,
spectacularly bad.
You're not permitted. We will change your vote to a 1.
You will.
We'll unilaterally change your vote to a 1.
This is so bland.
Yeah. Is that really the worst thing that a comic could be? I don't think it is.
Actually, yes.
I
think bland
I would
is
argue
the worst thing a comic could be.
No, offensive
Offensive.
is the worst thing a comic could be.
Okay, bland is the second worst thing.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like something can be bad and interesting. Boring is a unforgivable sin, frankly.
Yeah, this one was just there.
But it's still a 2 for me. That's
1.5.
For me, it has to be real dumb to be a 1 anything.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Also a 2. It had elements that I enjoyed. Some of the concepts were fun.
I am not going to remember this one by...
No.
To...
I wouldn't expect you to.
I probably will because I'm being gay about Princess Python.
Oh, true. She was very hot. So, I'm gonna head this off at the pass. Yes, I do know what the next issue is titled. I'm going to have to ask both of you to hold off on making the obvious jokes until I tell you.
I'll do my best.
I believe in you.
I don't.
I know. It's so easy. It's so tempting.
You can't.
Fuck you. I'm gonna buy an entire social media network.
So
oh God, he really
I'm going to travel in the path of the autists before me.
God.
I want you to understand that jokes are getting easier to make, not harder.
Yep.
Just seeing this cover.
They sure are. So the next issue is Thor number 174 from January of 1970. We're in a new year, baby. And a new decade, in fact.
And that's why it's not nice.
So this comic was written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Bill Everett, and lettered by Sam Rosen.
Bold in the brash, more like belongs in the trash.
Wait.
Thor flies...
The Carnage?
Thor flies alone over New York City when the evening sky is suddenly punctuated by 3 mysterious colored discs. He declares that he must follow them to discover the why and the wherefore, which is redundant. He flies after them until they stop suddenly and begin to change colors, swirling about like an obvious distraction, while someone lines up a shot. The gunman rejoices as the thunder god falls from the sky, steeling himself for the next phase of his plan. He rushes out to the alley, where Thor has been caught by a plastic web. He uses a strange device which, according to his narration, saps half of Thor's strength, which can then be applied to another being of his choice. He finishes and makes a getaway just as the Asgardian begins to stir, recovered from the hypnotic shock.
So I assume this man actually bought the right to say that it's his device.
Don't. It's too late. No one can stop him now.
He's gonna funnel all of that power into the blockchain.
Don't! You couldn't help yourself for even the first 5 pages.
No, he can't.
The man drives into a warehouse while monologuing insanely about generic...
how he's gonna buy Twitter!
generic mad scientist stuff. People thought his ideas were bad. His experiments were too extreme. He will show them all, yada yada.
Well, I'll wreak havoc on the financial world!
Inside the warehouse, he flips a switch, which opens a secret lab, wherein he shall transfer the ill-gotten power to his ultimate creation, the Crypto Man.
He will not make OSHA-required markings on the floor
No,
in this warehouse.
Unnamed mad scientist continues to ramble as he prepares the process of imbuing the automaton with Thor's power. Finally, he sets the machine, and it feeds a beam of energy into the Crypto Man,
Beams.
jolting it awake. The Crypto Man creaks into life, declaring, "I possess power."
I never expected to see a comic about Elon Musk.
And now I would like to invite you to make your jokes, but you already did. You fuckers.
We already did.
Couldn't help. Come on.
I mean, to be fair, there will be more jokes.
Oh, yes.
We're literally dealing with
the Crypto Man.
The Crypto.
And then he sells an image of the Crypto Man.
Yes. No, he doesn't sell an image of the Crypto Man. He sells a link to the image, a receipt that links to an image that may or may not be gone in... Who knows?
Proves that you own the Crypto Man.
Yes.
.jpg.
Yes, that you own that that link to the Crypto Man. Yes.
Our nameless scientist man attempts to assert his dominance.
Dr. Musk.
Stating that he is the master.
I think that's too generous. Mr. Musk.
Please, let me tell you about the comic. Stating that he is the master and the robot must obey.
Of course.
Crypto Man seems to have other ideas, though, as he smashes the nearby machinery, sending the market value of Dogecoin straight into the shitter.
This is traditionally how Mr. Musk's projects seem to work out for him.
Scientist Man pulls out a device that looks like a flashlight, which he uses to incapacitate the automaton long enough to compose a tweet about his new ape.
Oh...
I'm surprised the Crypto Man's name is the Crypto Man rather than like a various combination of letters and numbers. Punctuation.
I mean, you know how Elon names his kid?
Thor awakens in an alley, groggy from the intense sucking he has just received.
He did just get the full strength suck.
That's what happens when you invest, baby.
He climbs his way up to a nearby rooftop where he decides to take a nap, as you do. But after a few moments, he decides that's not going to do the trick. He realizes now that maybe he shouldn't have blindly followed floating lights in the sky, which in retrospect does seem like an obvious trap. He's not exactly sure what happened, though, so he takes off to Donald Blake's office to figure out what's wrong. However, as he approaches, he spies a patient awaiting his return.
A patient who doesn't see him.
So he just leaves his door unlocked all the time, huh? Even when
yeah.
he's not, like, in his office?
So wait, his office is just open when he's out being Thor.
Yeah, because, like, he didn't get a new nurse.
Yeah, this has happened multiple times.
How often do you think people come, find out there's no one there, wait a while, and then leave?
Right, pretty often, I guess.
How has he not gotten fucking robbed?
Right. He returns to the roof of his building, where he takes on his mortal guise and makes his way back down.
He uses his fucking hammer to climb up the building again.
Stan
Weird.
is obsessed with this idea for some reason.
He can
Jack
fly.
is obsessed with this idea.
Oh, true.
True.
Apparently this is a regular patient of his, one Mrs. White. She is sorely troubled, though on cursory inspection, there are no outward signs of illness. Instead, she starts talking about her son, Jasper, while Dawn gets her some water. Apparently, Jasper left home some months ago and has not been seen or heard from since. Mrs. White is beside herself with worry and has nowhere else to turn. She pulls out a picture of him to show Dawn, and it's none other than
Elon
Musk.
And no wonder he's vanished. He got deep into the crypto.
He's lost in the blockchain.
He can't escape.
Elsewhere at that very moment, Jasper sends his creation barreling through the wall and out onto the street for some aimless mayhem and destruction. 2 cops arrive swiftly, but the Crypto Man flips the entire sidewalk, busting a gas main in the process.
Okay, so he had no plan other than just have a Crypto Man? That was his whole plan?
I mean,
Pretty much.
that's how Elon
I mean, yeah,
Musk
that
works.
does track.
this is a perfect parallel.
Amazingly,
so far.
he didn't have to be sued to complete the Crypto Man.
No, that he promised he'd do, and then wanted to back out of. But no, a lawsuit that would have forced him
into building the Crypto Man.
Yes, he was forced into doing it because if he didn't, he would have been sued into doing it anyway.
The cops open fire, but the bullets just bounce right off. Jasper celebrates his seeming victory in this new era of digital currency.
The greatest moment of his life. What exactly is he getting out of this?
Gotta say, this is a huge turnaround in this series.
Yes, it is. This one I'll remember.
Back in the medical office of Dr. Don, the distraught Mrs. White has returned home. Don decides to go ahead and call the police, asking to be put through to Captain Dunlap, whoever that is.
Come to think of it,
They never bothered to call the police before?
She didn't call the police because he left the house willingly.
Hold on,
so she didn't think they would do anything.
That Musk's mom went to her doctor instead of calling the police.
And then the doctor called the police.
For a missing persons case.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm telling you.
What?
And the doctor called the police like, duh, you should have called the fucking police, ma'am, Ms. White.
I guess he must be friends with Dunlap, because the captain immediately spills the beans, stating that they don't have time for missing persons while there's a robot attack happening.
Well, Don's another guy who just, has a friend everywhere.
Oh, yes. So. Absolutely. Don wastes no time hanging up and turning into Thor, wondering if this could possibly be related to his earlier lethargy.
And the shocking changes in his 401k.
Taking to the skies, the golden-haired Avenger follows the sound of sirens until he reaches the source of the disturbance.
I mean,
Man, the cops just keep having, fucking assault rifles.
There's a whole...
As they do.
There's a whole line of police now attempting to gun down the robot, but their bullets continue to bounce harmlessly off of his metal bod.
Hey guys, there's equality. There are black cops opening fire, too.
Yeah.
Equality.
One might think that they would stop wasting their ammo at this point, but no.
No, they're cops.
They have...
It comes from the government. The government's gonna pay for it, baby.
Infinite
hey,
money.
If they miss, well, that's whoever else's problem, not theirs.
Sovereign immunity, baby.
They're police. You can't sue them for hitting people behind the Crypto Man.
Thor surges forward and is quickly swatted away before the Crypto Man issues a series of blows, each one producing emissions equal to those of a small nation.
Probably.
Wham! Kanye West is allowed to tweet! Wham! Donald might be coming back!
Oh boy!
Somewhere in the midst of this, Thor comes to the conclusion that the robot has the other half of his power, which is true, but also feels like a leap in logic.
How did
you pull something with that reach?
Regardless, he fights on, determined to right-click and save Image-As until his dying breath.
Thor, buddy, pal, do not invest in Crypto Man.
Download an extension to enable right-click.
No, John, he's fighting the Crypto Man.
But he might think he's
They palms him in the face!
The Crypto Man knocks a wall down on top of him and then turns away, thinking him defeated. The Odinson wonders why his foe is so quick to move on until he notices a man standing nearby.
Well, that's just how crypto is.
It's Elon Musk.
Oh, fuck.
Who decided that he can't help but gloat. I'm going to be a billionaire, he says, because I invested all my money into Ponzi coin, which is a totally legit form of currency with no red flags at all.
You know, that's probably an actual form of cryptocurrency.
It is. That's why I made that joke.
Advertisers will not flee this social media platform if I entirely get rid of moderation, right, guys?
Right. What if white nationalists are sponsored by the bird site, advertisers aren't gonna flee?
Thor breaks free from the rubble and quickly brushes him off, resolving to find the Crypto Man once more and reclaim his purloined power.
But you found the Crypto Man. He's
right
in front of you.
No, he left.
I know, but he's the real Crypto Man.
Oh, I see. Suddenly, the Thunder God notices an open manhole nearby.
Hey, can't help but notice we're at 18 pages.
Yep.
Oh no.
Elon takes this moment to reveal his evil plan. The Crypto Man will traverse the sewer system until it reaches the new atomic power plant near the waterfront, whereupon he can hold the entire city hostage until Thor deletes the screenshot he took of his lazy lion.
And he's permitted to open a company town.
Thor chases him through the tunnels until they find a conveniently labeled hole into the plant. Jasper pauses to celebrate just before Thor reminds him that if his plan should go awry, every soul in the city will suffer the consequences, including his own mother.
But I'll be in space, so it's fine.
As you think Elon Musk cares about his mother.
This seems to have struck a nerve, but there's no time to wait for privileged Twitter boys to grow a conscience. Thor enters the plant to attack the Crypto Bro, but Jasper runs after him, yelling that the robot is too close to the reactor, and if they fight here, anything could happen. He pulls out his flashlight, adjusting the settings on the fly before firing at his creation while crying about having forgotten his mommy.
He'd forgotten about his mother. That's amazing.
In a blinding flash, both Jasper and his machine are defeated for good.
I'm getting some Boulevard Trask vibes here.
The strength returns to Thor's limbs, yet he knows that it will not help him for his next task. He returns to the guise of Dr. Donald Blake and with a heavy heart informs Mrs. White of her son's demise before leaving her to grieve.
Wait, so normally police tell...
Right, I was wondering why he's involved with this at all. Like, fighting Elon Musk, I understood. Why,
Yeah.
why is he telling Mrs. Musk about her son's fate?
I could look up what his mom's name is. It's not actually Musk.
I don't care.
So what did you guys think of that issue?
This is a
5
5
out of 5.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for the opportunity to have an Elon Musk roast session.
Look, this is the thing. This would have been a boring, terrible issue if it weren't for
In 1970, this was a very awful issue, but in 2022, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yes, yes it is. All because of things that have happened between publishing and today.
Oh, hail the Crypto Man.
No, at the end, the crypto crash took him down. It took both of them.
Okay, 5 out of 5.
Crypto Man and Dr. Crypto Man,
It's a sweep.
who isn't actually a
Crypto
doctor.
Man and the Crypto Man's monster.
Yes, Crypto Man and Crypto Man's monster.
So, anyway,
That was amazing.
with that, we are now down to 8 more episodes of Stan.
Oh, thank God. Let's see. I think this is going to be our last episode before voting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to look down at my shirt and say, remember the 8th of November.
Oh my God.
Vote, 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 vote. Maybe we haven't been clear enough about this in recent episodes. Fucking vote. Fucking do it. Bet you're too much of a chicken to vote. Fucking do it, coward.
Strange energy.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna Marty McFly them to Pokemon Go to the polls.
I want you to understand that those may be references that some of our listeners don't understand.
I've
Especially,
been throwing them out all along, though, so if they don't understand, they're willing to put up with it. Surely everybody knows Pokemon Go to the polls.
do they? Are you sure? And Marty McFly, classic 80s movie series.
Yeah, people know Marty McFly.
Anyway, if you're a 60s whatever kind of scientist we talk about, I'm sorry, I'm so lost on the fucking hype of the Elon Musk
The
roast.
Crypto Man.
We got to see Elon Musk die.
There was some kind of scientist or like expert on some kind of 60s something. So like, if you know that thing
About the Carney battle cry, that's what it is.
Carney
about
battle
the Carney
cry.
battle cry. Yeah, email us at comicsplaining@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on our social media. We are on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, so hit us up over there. We're Comicsplaining all of those places. You can also watch a video version of the show where you can watch the Crypto Man's downfall in all of glorious whatever quality YouTube provides you.
You can see the crypto crash in glorious 240p.
So check us up over on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the motherfucking bell button, leave us a comment to tell us about what cryptocurrency you use. If you'd like to support the show, I don't think that Patreon has a cryptocurrency option, but like if you want to use like different money, like fake money that everyone else uses, you can hit us up over at Patreon or throw us a couple bucks over on Coffee.
Do you mean real money?
Yeah, I mean real money. I mean it is quote unquote real money. We just like decide it means something, but
fiat
you know.
Currency. We could get into the details about how fiat currency works.
Let's make this a fun part of our comics podcast.
Yes, in which we explain
the basics of economics. So whatever the fuck I was talking about.
You were asking.
Donate us money.
Yes.
Rate and review us on whatever your podcatcher choice is. Email us your thoughts on Elon Musk. Whatever the hell you want. Join us over on Discord. Tell us about your favorite cryptocurrency. And, other than that, we're going to be back at you next time with the X-Men, and we look forward to talking to you then. Bye!
Bye!